Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S.S, and we are here with What's the Word Wednesdays, Season 2, Episode 10. We are 10 episodes in the season, so appreciate y'all being here. Those on Instagram and those in YouTube. Appreciate to see y'all. What's going on, my brother Chris? Millet Music in the building. Peace and love, brother. What's the word? So, as we usually do, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to post the topics for today's What's the Word episode, as well as quickly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop up the logo. But once again, peace and love to all those watching here on Instagram as well as on YouTube. We are back with another episode, and for today's episode, it's gonna be an interesting one to say the least. But peace and love to the legend Clockwise in the building, y'all. If y'all don't know about Clockwise, check this brother out on the ones and twos on the production. But peace and love to you, Clock. Good to see you in here. So, for today's episode, as we let more people come in, we're gonna be getting into current events. I got a few to speak on in a few categories. And then we're going to be talking about the two-sided perspective or perspectives. As well as lastly, we're going to be speaking on heightening your awareness. So, how do you do that? What does that all mean? And what will that end up affecting down the road? But with that, y'all let me know how y'all feeling. What's the word? Tell me in the comments. Here, YouTube, y'all do the same thing. Get that algorithm moving. Well, as we doing that, we're waiting till people come through. And I'm going to take this picture off here. And let's get back to the full screen. We'll see how it looks later on, but appreciate y'all being here. Just know, you better capture it all before it's gone. Capture it all before it's gone. Y'all better capture every moment on the earth and moments going forth. Y'all better capture it all before it's gone. And capture it all before it's gone. Y'all better capture. Yeah, I got a pen. You never know when you need one. Be ready. So I always got one with me. That's what's going on. Yeah. Peace and love, fam. I see you in here, man. Here, the influence, aka under the influence, aka R&B Ja, is in the building, y'all. But with that, y'all, appreciate it. See, Chris said, feeling all right, pretty good day, mixed emotions about the justice system, and we're gonna be jumping into that. So we'll see how that ends up going, brother. But I appreciate you sharing that. Y'all in there too, let me know what's the word, how y'all feeling. But like we do, let's get this show song going, and then we're going to jump into the show. So here we go. So they be walking up to me. They be asking me, what's the word? And I tell them like, what's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? We tell them like, what's the word? What's the word? What you heard? We gotta know, yeah, what's the word? Once again, it's your brother A.D.V.I.S.S, and we are here with episode 10, season 2 of What's the Word Wednesdays. We're 10 episodes in deep, y'all. So appreciate everyone that's in here right now. Much love to those that will see this and watch this later. And I see y'all on YouTube. I see y'all. But with today, once again, we're going to be getting into current events. Got a lot to talk about. Y'all could throw some in there as well. We're going to talk about, after that, the two-sided perspective or perspectives. And lastly, we're going to talk about heightening your awareness. Okay? But with that, let's get started with these current events. So, I don't want to jump on that one too quick, Chris, but before we jump into that, I have some articles pulled up. I'm going to start actually at least reading, at least briefing a little bit from these articles now on when I'm speaking on it. So I have at least the current events I've come across this past strength. I'm going to put them up there in 3 different categories. We're speaking on some updates to the shots and vaccinations. Second, I'm going to be talking about basically the whole George Floyd and the whole policing and justice system. So we got that. And then lastly, have a little piece on, I want to say, you can say pollution in a way, but more so looking at how to really conserve and help the earth with these few articles. So we're going to get into it. So CNN posts, just to give y'all some details, it says 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine wasted for every 850 administered. So the CDC's been taking into account, basically, from March 29th, they've said that for every 850 doses that have been administered, 1 had to be thrown out because it was either unused, it was spoiled, or it was wasted. And this is coming from data from the CNN, which was also coming through, once again, the CDC, which is the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The article continues to go on, and it says that basically the CDC has showed that there is about 182,874 doses that ended up being wasted by 35 different states and 17 pharmacies throughout this time between March 29th. So it's only up to March 29th. It's not up to updated where it is now. So that between those numbers, that is saying it's less than 1% of 155 million of those doses. So you're wondering, okay, why am I going through this article in particular and giving you these numbers? In this case, is just letting you know at least the setup of where we're at now when it comes to how we're taking in data with the vaccines, and really, to me, is speaking on the fact of how much availability of the vaccines that are going to be out for folks, as well as when it comes to this stuff, money's behind it. So literally how much is being wasted due to the fact that out of 850 that are effective or at least used, 1 of them is not. So then overall that ends up adding up. So I mean, I just wanted to just quickly give you that piece that's there. So as of right now, from the CDC, basically are using this thing called V-Trix. If I'm correct, it's VTRCKS, and there's literally uppercases and lower cases. But this is just another tracker that they are using to help with the overall tracking of the vaccines being administered. So that's just one. Just wanted to put that out there. In response with that, for those, when it comes to your choice of either you're going to or you're not going to get one, this is according to MSN Health, that these are a few of the side effects that most commonly people experience after getting these shots. So I'm going to tell you those 9, and literally you can decide that for yourself. I give it a little background, but this is the next thing. So, people who got the shot had these side effects most. What's going on, brother? Brother Saab, you in the building. I see you, brother. Good to see you up in here. Alright, wait, let's see. Before I do, let's see. You think that's a normal occurrence with vaccines across the board, like it's a flu vaccine? There's so much data that needs to be collected when it comes to this. So right now, I don't know what would be a baseline. We're still trying to create what is a baseline for how effective or how detrimental these shots can end up being. So I can't speak to the fact that if it's a normal occurrence just yet. But we have the flu vaccine being a whole different thing. But once you start getting some more data and start making the comparisons, I feel like at least after a year or so, or maybe even 2, it'll be a lot more valid. But right now, brother, it's not necessarily at least normal in my perspective right now. There's still so many different datas and factors that take into consideration that have not yet been highlighted. So I'm gonna tell you on that part. That's just how I think about it on there. But appreciate the question, brother. Appreciate the question. What's going on? West Coast Ninja in the building. It's the original. Oh, let's get it. But once again, for those, if you're choosing to either or not, from a waste perspective. From a waste perspective, I would have to look at the numbers, brother, but it said it was less than 1% when it came to that, and that might be typically common, but I would have to look into see the numbers for the flu vaccine as well as many other vaccines that have been provided. So, but I would think, I mean, there's always going to have that possibility of it not working and being defective. So if it's less than 1%, it's around there. Usually there's a slight chance for error, which is around that 1%. So possibly, but I gotta go do my due diligence and look up all of this knowledge. But I appreciate the clarification. All right. So if you're planning on getting it, here are a few of some common side effects. Just giving it to you. And this is from, again, Microsoft News. They got it from Health. Okay, Microsoft Health, whatever you want to call it. So, one of the first ones, nausea, which about 9% people have reported feeling this way after getting it. So, close to 9% feel nausea after they gotten the shot. And that's either the first or the second shot. And this is going to be for all of the symptoms, or all of the side effects. Sorry, not symptoms, but side effects. Second one, joint pain, which about 10% report feeling this after getting it. So we got nausea, we got joint pain. So joints like either in the hands, might be in the knees, but your joints. Another one, injection swelling site. So where you ended up getting it, that almost 11% end up reporting that this was what they were feeling after getting it. So swelling in that particular site. Another one, a fever. About 11% end up feeling a fever after getting it. Other one, another 11% feel the chills. So you start to get some kind of cold or flu symptoms from it, as in those are some of the side effects of feeling it. And most of the logic behind it is that it's basically doing its job that it's supposed to be doing. It's attacking your immune system so that it can be able to effectively fend off and fight against it. So that's most of the logic that's behind some of these. I didn't read specifically, but that's what a lot of them are behind this. Another one is muscle pain, which about 23% of people feel this after getting it, the first or the second shot, muscle pain. Another one, headaches, which almost reportedly 30% of people feel once after they getting it. It's feeling headaches. Second one is fatigue. 22% feel fatigued after getting either the first or second. And then lastly, which 70 to almost 71% of folks, shout out to the wizard up in here, injection site pain. So wherever they ended up getting it again, the other one was the swelling, but this one is the pain that you're feeling from it. almost 71%. And this is just me wanting to just inform and just let y'all know, if you rather decide you're going to or you're not, just know that these will be some of the most common side effects that people have experienced when they went and ended up getting the particular, shot. It doesn't break down specifically if it's by either the Pfizer, Moderna, all the other different specific ones, but these are just in general, all of them. So yeah, peace and love to the fam coming in. I see you, Bahar. Thank you. Appreciate you as well as the boy bodyologist in here. You already know. Boom. Shoot. Let's see. Nah, you the GOAT, my G. You the GOAT. I said I got pain and headaches when I took mine. Exactly. Saying this is helpful info. I got my second dose tomorrow. Yes. I will say this, and this is just from my own perspective. Y'all take it. It's not correct, fully correct if not, but I've noticed those within my immediate family, those around me, have actually experienced a lot of these different side effects, especially after the second one that they took. I've seen a few friends who were very fatigued. The injection site where there was swelling, as well as a few of them actually got even more sick from it. So yes, getting those fever, those chills, and those flu-like symptoms after. So just take this information once again with a grain of salt, but just know these are just a few of people who got the shots reported these were the side effects that they most experienced. But yes. So let's see. Boom, boom. Yes, I'm not trying to get the shot in the hood. I feel that, brother. I had some pain in my arm and some fatigue. Yes. And once again, part of the logic behind that is because of the fact that it's doing its job. It's basically going in there. You're basically asking to get it already so then you can know, okay, how does my body react to this? So I mean, that's just me. That's how I feel about the flu shot as well as this one in particular. It's you just speeding up the process of you getting it, even though it doesn't necessarily say that it has it. And don't quote me on this, I know one of them, actually, one of either the Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson, which both AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson's has actually been off the shelf, and they're trying to get it back on the shelf, but there's been a lot of other issues that come along with it. So you can check with that, but literally just be mindful that a lot of this stuff ends up happening and what can be in there. I won't get too crazy deep into it, but yes, just do the knowledge and look up things and at least have some type of information before doing so. So yeah, let's see. Got y'all getting back up in here. Shoot, there is no research. People getting a shot are the research. Hey, brother, basically, because this is one thing I will add to this, and we'll move on to the next topics, and y'all can throw more current events of which I've been seeing in the news. But brother, one thing is that there's not a lot of research behind the impacts on gender when it comes to taking this, the impacts of race, genetics, hereditary, different, I'm not gonna say diseases, but more so things that came down in the family that you're more predisposed to. There has been research of how that all can be either influenced or have some type of factor when to taking the shot. So I'm with you on that. Said they are the guinea pigs, yeah, brother. Appreciate that. I was hoping this shot would unlock my dormant mutant. Brother. Oh my goodness. You was ready to be an X-Man. But you an X-Man on a beat though. You're an X-Men on the beat when you be getting these bars out. So just know that. Get that to you. Say I'm a guinea pig then. Man, it is what you make it at the end of the day. Nobody's over here shaming anybody on anything. We're just saying, just take your time. Whatever helps you to feel safe, go ahead with it, as well as just do and look up the information just so you can be fully informed. That's it. That's all. But that's with that for at least the health and the shots news. That's what that is. So next, I want to move to the main thing that's really just being talked about right now, and there's more updated news as it comes. Peace and love, what's going on? Brother Kunde, I see you in here. So, next thing I want to move to, because it's in the news, being talked about, being seen everywhere. So, you'll talk about basically the outcome of the sentencing as well as the trial. But before I do that, I just forgot there was another article on the shots. But I'll keep it brief because I want to keep us going. But back last time, I talked about that New York was one of the states that were actually proposing vaccine passports. If you want to do that, Google research or Google and look up vaccine passports. But now, in particular, this is NBC News. It says that states are attempting to ban or curtail the use of vaccine passports. And what it says in here is that literally the reason for it is a lot of these governors are doing it is because it's invading not only your privacy, but it's also invading your civil rights, and it is keeping a lot of people at bay when it comes to certain places and things that they can end up doing. So there's a whole talk around different governors banning and putting things into law to prevent these passports becoming a thing, which these passports would be provided by private owned businesses or private owned you can say corporations, and be made. So just be also vigilant on that as well, to be aware of that's going on. I'm not gonna throw too much more in it, but now let's jump into this justice system and news. But let's see, brother said, all right, there's much more debate on words regarding that, such as the difference between accountability, justice, and abolition. All right, yes, brother, wars indeed. Yes, wars indeed. Yes, and we'll keep those as a note. I appreciate you sharing that. So, what I want to end up doing is I'm gonna play two videos. You can hear them in the background. I'm gonna turn them up, and we'll speak on what we hear from the news reports, and we'll mostly be talking about what the outcome of the trial is and where's the movement, or what's the next step beyond that. So the first video that I'm going to be playing for y'all, this video is basically talking about Biden's response when he's talked about systemic racism when he was doing his address at Capitol Hill. So I'm going to turn it up. Y'all let me know if you can hear it. And then we'll go from there. We'll play that video, as well as I'm going to play another short clip of some of y'all probably already seen it, but Nancy Pelosi and what she said regarding the issue or the outcome of the trial too. And we'll have our thoughts, perspectives, and comments on it as well. So first one, just let me know y'all can hear it.
Biden administration, according to officials, pouncing on what they see as momentum from the verdict in the Chauvin trial, momentum for change. The Justice Department starting a sweeping investigation into policing practices in Minneapolis. And President Biden pronounces the conviction a step forward as he denounces what he calls systemic racism in the United States. Well, that comment is getting a lot of response from lawmakers and others. White House correspondent Kristen Fisher has details tonight from the North Lawn. Good evening, Kristen.
Good evening, Brett. The topic of police reform truly dominating almost all of Washington today, from the White House calling on Congress to take action to Capitol Hill, where a bipartisan deal could be close, and to the Justice Department. Attorney General Merrick Garland announcing a sweeping investigation into the entire Minneapolis Police Department
to determine whether the Minneapolis Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of unconstitutional or unlawful policing.
Find the defendant guilty.
The announcement comes just one day after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of murdering George Floyd.
Yesterday's verdict in the state criminal trial does not address potentially systemic policing issues in Minneapolis.
While the Attorney General searches for systemic policing issues, President Biden is promising to confront the systemic racism embedded in U.S. institutions.
There's systemic racism is a stain on our nation's soul.
Republican Senator John Kennedy has a problem with the word systemic.
I don't think our law enforcement agencies are systemically racist. I don't think America's systemically racist. I think we do have racists in both.
Yesterday, President Biden promised George Floyd's family that he would do everything in his power to get the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed.
We're going to stay at it till we get it done.
The bill, which would ban chokeholds and end qualified immunity for police officers, has already passed the House and is now stuck in the Senate.
So that's the first one. Now I'm gonna play the second one, and then we're gonna continue to lock in and talk about it. But y'all let me know, at least your thoughts right now. And the next one, if it'll let me move to it, we go down here, and we'll put it wide right here real quick. And we'll see, because it's going pretty slow right now, y'all. All right. So this is the first one, or the last one. Now, listen close to this.
So again, thank you, George Floyd. So again, thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice. For being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out for your mom. I can't breathe. But because of you, and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous. So again, thank you, George Floyd.
I'm going to stop that miss right there. And let's hop back on this here.
You're forever real into the moment is out.
So y'all let me know. What are y'all first initial feelings when it comes to both what was being said with Biden and the whole systemic racism feeling, as well as the comments from Nancy Pelosi and what George ended up, dying for in particular. So let me see. So I know you had one before, yeah. So yeah, wait, the vaccine passports are going to be a real thing. Yes, cool, we can talk about that later. All I got to do is look it up for sure. Heard, boom, I can see it. Except it was not a choice. It was not his choice exactly. We have, yep. There was there any empathy? There wasn't. She's smoking bro. Yes. That's why I had to share that with y'all. So, bruh, so now it doesn't even want me to exit out. Alright, hold on. Because it wants us to continue to hear this BS. Alright, so I'm with y'all on this. So when it comes to the first part with President Biden and all that's going on with talking about the systemic racism and things of that nature, and the one politician who ended up saying that a lot of these institutions are not systemically racist, I will say that is more of a deflection. It has been already shown that a lot of these places are systemically racist, either through its practices as well as through its own laws and rules. I'm gonna give a few. I could give a few, but I'm not gonna go too deep into that. But there is a lot that goes beyond and with that. So the whole thing with that first one too was also talking about how now there's also gonna be a bill that's under that, and are named after George Floyd in particular, where chokeholds and basically hold down on a force, they're going to prohibit that. It's already been passed, like it said, and is waiting in the Senate, if I'm correct. Remember from the news. But that's the first video, just to get yours on that. The second one, I have more on that because, like y'all are saying in the comments, like, what was up with her response? I don't know if she was there. I don't know where she was. Like you said, I don't know if she was smoking on something. But to say that you're thankful for someone dying to show justice, I thought that was what the justice system was for. That literally you go to trial, go through these whole loops to show that it works, but the main thing is that you gotta be alive for that. So we're thanking people to show justice that they have to die and become a martyr, that there could be some justice. And in this particular case, in my perspective, this is just one of many that's happened in the past and what they've saying. So this is repeated rhetoric over and over and over again, just to really let you know that this is just to save face. This is to continue the machine that we are living in particular, and to let you know that this is going to continue to happen, and that at the end of the day, they don't see some of these people as real people. And that literally, I'm thankful that you were calling. I'm thankful that you basically gave your life to show that there were, the injustice, to show us justice, as well as it could be heartbreaking that you were crying out to your mom, and like you're thankful for that as well too. Like, what? Not saying let me not misquote it, but literally in that same vein, it really just sounds like literally you making this man turn in his grave or wherever he may end up being. And there's just so many backhanded comments. So it just really makes you, start to think and really, wonder like, what type of system are we truly living in? If 2020 didn't give y'all a clear view of it, this should done give y'all more of a wake up slap regardless. But at this, in a whole, thinking the police force, everything else that's going on and beyond with that too, this is at least starting again to have the convo when it comes to policing and everything else. So I'm still going to say there's a lot that still needs to end up being done, and that this is not the last step. We need everyone, whoever is able to keep pushing and keep hitting that marker to know that yes, this ended up happening, but guess what? This is not it. We're not going to go back. Don't get super overjoyed and happy and take this bait to end up going right back to sleep. You got to keep pushing that full throttle. So once again, it's been a very, very tough, emotional, and stressful week and day for people. Because then also on top of this, we had another shooting and killing of a 16-year-old girl. I'm not gonna go too deep into that either, but once again, on the same day, it's just letting you know, in this place, it keeps on moving regardless, and it does not matter. At the end of the day, it's almost showing you that it doesn't matter. But here we go, let's see. So brother said, West Coast Ninja said, George didn't want to be killed, which is why he was crying out. I can't even comprehend what she just said. Exactly. It's just mind-boggling just to really think so. Someone on that stage should have checked it for that. They're all in line with that, brother. I feel you, but they're all in line with that. I would have pulled her mic. Yeah, she would have gotten canceled on the spot. But unfortunately, she doesn't, because once again, she is one of the representatives who is also helping with the stimulus check. So she got her own seat of power and everything. So, and Yeah, he didn't want to die. He wanted to live. He was just crying out to live within 15 minutes. Exactly. I mean, there's so much more. We could touch on that, but I'm going to just leave it there. I did have 2 more when it came to news, but I'm going to cut it short because we actually ran a lot over into news. But the other 2 was just talking about, you know, recycling and really re-looking at how recycling is actually affecting a lot of us in America, whether economically as well as waste-wise. So I'll speak on that at another time. So that, as well as Brazil asking the U.S. to help with providing money for the Amazon, because once again, a lot is going on with the Amazon still burning. People are trying to survive, so literally asking the U.S. to help bail out Brazil in a way when it comes to the Amazon. But I'm not going to touch any more deep on that. Next time, I'll make sure I save it if you want to look into this, but that's all the news I got for today. So with the doses, with the different side effects, make sure you look into those, as well as with this whole situation of just the justice system and policing. Please keep an eye out and just see through the officials who speak on it, as well as the law enforcement, those who are around you. Just see how they're either helping the situation or they're hurting the situation, to be abusing their power or not giving a care, or they are caring but it's still not where it needs to end up being. So with that, y'all, we'll move to the next topic. And the next topic that we got is the 2-sided perspective, aka perspectives. But before I get into that, let me see what y'all got going on over here. Y'all speaking on. So yeah, shoot, we do need that stimmy. Yeah, there's so much stuff that we end up needing. Shoot, said please watch Seaspiracy on Netflix. All right, send me if you can. Please send me a DM on that so I can remember that. And then brother Kunin said 6 were also murdered by white men on Thursday in Indianapolis. I heard a little bit about that too. I didn't look a little bit more into that, but yeah, there's a lot of, the block is hot, or places are hot right now with a lot of these, not only shootings but just a lot of these deaths. And also just be mindful of, like, okay, what is being put out on the news right now, because we're consuming not only through our ears but all of our senses in our body. So just be mindful of what is the propaganda and things behind it as well. So appreciate y'all sharing that. Now, the 2-sided perspective. Again, the 2-sided perspective, aka perspectives. With this topic, really more so, I just wanted to speak on and just really talk about what that entails. And when we're speaking about what a 2-sided perspective is, we're thinking about mostly, of course, the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, the ups and the downs, and how that is honestly two sides of the same coin, which basically ends up being whatever that problem is in particular. And this perspective, or people say perspectives, is stuck in that whole binary and dichotomous system of just these two creating and solving a solution, which in the most part, that's a lot of what we use and how we see a lot of the things that are being said to us and shown to us in society, of how people think about things. You know, we look at both of those sides to figure out whether or not we are going to do something, or how that impacts us and everyone else's individuals within this said system. So, reason why I wanted to bring up this is to say that, and it's obvious as well too, is that besides this 2-sided perspective or perspectives that is here, there's multiple other ones that are overlooked or not even seen. And even though it is a great base to start with, to have when having the two-sided perspectives of being able to see it on this side and that side, just as there's 4 different directions that you can head and go, north, south, east, or west, there's multiple different ways and perspectives that you can end up looking at one problem. So I just wanted to bring to just a reminder that there's just not only this one particular realm of, okay, just having the this or that. Either you can get with this or you can get with that. Even though that is a great starting point. But not forgetting that there's this and that, as well as there's the up and there's the down, as well as it's the side to the side. And when you add all of those in together, you start to have more of a well-rounded perspective. That's why there is a thing of not only diversity, but also having others outside of your own thought process or perspectives, giving you another one to add on top of it. And what that ends up doing is it helps to widen your perspective, as well as add on top of what you already have, if that vibes and if that is resonant with you, or resonates with you. So let me see. You got the brother. As I continue, let's see. The brother says, that's right. That's why I have recently written so much poems and stories about overcoming false binaries and embracing duality and reconnecting to innate wholeness. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Besides reverse victimhood, the false binary is their number one psychological weapon they use to keep us trapped. Y'all got any other ones? And just know, y'all are also more than welcome to come on and speak with me. And not only just in the comments. I like when people come in and we get to have talks and perspectives on live. So you're more than welcome to just add the request. But other than that, I appreciate y'all still being here. I'm going to keep jumping in. Y'all keep throwing the comments. Let me see. So there's more. The good, the evil, demons, angels, demonization, exonifying, all of those different things that adds on to there. So to continue on that, and I'm going to keep just running it back, is with the two-sided perspectives. What's going on, Kunden? Nice to see you again. What's the word?
What's the word?
I
I went
appreciate
to
you.
Frosty's birthday party last night. That was fun.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, we had a jam session afterwards. We had dinner and then jam session at the studio.
Wow. That's beautiful. That sounds like that was a really dope time.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
But I love the comments that you were putting on in the comments down below. But if you want, please speak a little bit more on your thoughts and your perspective on the two-sided perspective.
Right. Yeah. It's also known as black and white thinking, right? Or the false binary. And I feel like, it's like the number one or one of the top two psychological weapons they use to trap us. Like it's used to trap white people in white guilt and shame, and then it's used to trap us in overwork and exhaustion. Because so it traps both people, both sides, because what's happening is guilt is it's a very indulgent emotion. Like, it's good to a certain extent. Like, you feel guilty when you validate your own values, right?
Yeah.
But if you stay stuck in it, it becomes an excuse, almost like a self-indulgent thing where you don't want to feel remorse and remorseful amends. You don't want to make amends. So guilt needs to be transformed into remorse. But the good evil binary traps white people because they believe that, the only racists are the KKK and no one else can be racist, right? So you have to be KKK level evil or Hitler level evil, right? Either you're Hitler level evil or you're like the perfect, amazing angel, right? So there's nothing in between. That's the binary. And they keep us trapped in that too, where black and brown people, we're not allowed to be imperfect. We're not allowed to have flaws. So we're seen as either, the this magical angel, right? You see it even in movies, right?
Yes.
The so-called magical Negro trope, right? There's all of that, like the golf guy from Legend of Bagger Vance, all of these movies, Green Mile. So either that or you're like a thug, right? By the way, they used to call us thugs too in India, and they killed 10 million of our tribes way back in the day after calling us thugs. So, so either we're thugs or we're these magical creatures, right? And there's
Yeah.
nothing in between. And the moment we make a little bit of mistake, right, we fall from that pedestal and we
Yes.
become the thugs and the savages and the demons. So that means we're not allowed to be in between, or like we're called welfare queens or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
either we're savage and thugs, or we're lazy people who are entitled and sucking off the system, which is so ridiculous, right? Because the greatest irony is these Europeans who now call themselves white people, they were so lazy and entitled. They enslaved generations of people to do work for them, so that they didn't have to work. Like it's flipped, and that's where the whole upside down reverse victimhood also comes from. But the point is that no one is allowed to be in the middle, which is why we're all in this state of anxiety
Yes.
and guilt and shame, and we're not allowed to to rest. And that's why I think rest is revolutionary, pleasure is revolutionary because of that. Like it's saying, I will not be part of that false binary. Like I will not call myself lazy just because I need to sleep in today. You
Yes.
know, I will not call myself, incompetent or a fuck up just because I made a little bit of a mistake today. Rest is revolutionary, pleasure is revolutionary, and it will help us, I think, overcome these false binaries and help us like embrace the dualities, Besides telling the new stories of the new culture,
Yes.
because stories are styles too.
Yes. All the words and things that we use are
Mm-hmm.
spells, and how we use them can be, once again, with our attention. It goes right back to
Mm-hmm.
that intention of how you're going to use your
Yeah,
words and how you're going to use your message to get things out. Which
yeah,
I also wanted to throw back, and I was trying to put it back in my mind or give you another thing to think about. You can say, kind of playing, once again, we got these binaries, devil's advocate. Um,
yeah.
but I'm gonna say, so this will be my point, and you can go right off of that, and you just let me know how you feel about it. So, say somebody on the other side will end up saying, "Well, see how far we've come already with having these particular perspectives
Mm-hmm.
and binaries. So why would we want to end up wanting to change it now? You see how successful the U.S. has become. We're supposedly, the number one, universal power, and within just a small percentage of history. So why would there be a need for us to even question these
Mm-hmm.
binaries? What would your thought be after someone, if they were to say something like that?
I mean, I wouldn't even know what to say because it's such a totally different paradigm from where I am. Like, we got to question even the idea of like, is it such a great thing to be a universal power? First of all, even if it's true, which is not true, by the way, but even if it was true, is that such a great thing? Like,
Mm,
right?
mm, yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to shoot that out there, but yeah, yeah. I mean, this is, like I said, this is me coming up with the back of
Mm-hmm.
it. But I mean, I definitely do agree with a lot of the points that you made when it came to that. Because for me, not only in Buddhism, but there's in a lot of different native cultures as well as Aboriginal, societies, ancient societies, of this whole idea again of balance, but understanding that there was just more than just, I'm on this side of the river and you're on that side of the river. What about the river itself? in that middle there, and how that in itself is also another pathway which you can end up being able to see both perspectives while also having your own. That's what people will say, that you're sitting on the fence, so you're not too sure, you're right there in between trying to figure out where and what that is. But what ends up happening with that too is we forget how, even with a lot of these binaries, which I get it from the what is it? Not, is it the Kemetic? No, it's the Hermetic principle of basically that polarity, which we have these binaries, but what ends up happening is within that's those same binaries, like you said, there's that middle. It's a whole spectrum. So literally,
Yeah, the
you have
duality.
multiple different identities and multiple different feelings, thoughts, perspectives, anything that falls in line from either this way side of the spectrum. I know I'm going off camera so you can't see, all the way to the whole other side of the spectrum. And what's happening is, I get it, we get to a point where we want to make sure that we get our points across. So that's why we keep it very general between those two, because we can get stuck in the specifics at the end of the day and all of those extra formalities. But just knowing that when it comes to certain issues that you see reoccurring over and over again, and we're still stuck with only these two options, we got to break out of that cycle of insanity, thinking that we only have these two ways to hit it and nothing's changed. Why don't we start looking what's going on the spectrum in between and start implementing or trying some of those other thoughts and things that are there at the same time? And that's where you would want to have that convo, to be able to be like, okay, well, we saw that, we tried to chop down the tree, and then we also tried to recycle the tree. But what about if we went ahead and every time we did that, why don't we just plant 2 trees? If we take 1 tree, why don't we start planting 2 trees and see what happens there? That's still on the spectrum of talking about whether you recycled it or you chopped it down, but now you're doing something else, whether you're putting out, putting back or giving back in some other way, but it's not this one or that one.
Oh, there's a third option. Did you know that the Japanese for centuries have figured out a version of their bonsai technique where they can still use the wood without cutting off the tree entirely, but just cutting off pieces of it and making the tree grow. And it's a slightly different
Peace
version
and
of
love, KZ.
bonsai.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and they've been doing it for centuries. Like,
Oh yeah. Wait. No, I remember. Wow. I'm glad you brought that point up, because I remember
yeah.
actually reading a book that mentioned that.
Hmm.
But I was in, and it was not a nonfiction. It was actually a literature book, and I
Hmm.
remember. And dang, I'm trying to remember where specifically, but I didn't read more into that. But yes, 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 yes.
Hmm.
Exactly. So that's the thing. You wouldn't
Yeah,
know that because you have these dominating this one and this one. So you'd be like, those are the
exactly.
only options I got. Just like the
Right.
brother was saying in here. Sounds like a two-party system to me. Guess what? What are we living in? We see all the other
A
different ones,
two-party
but we
system.
only
Yeah.
got those two that's going to be promoted. So yes, it's politics as usual. We look for things. We are a people as well as a nation, and also globally, that yes, we want to live things simplistically, but in the same token of living it simplistically, we make things so overly complicated that literally we only give you this and we only give you that, and then others say like, we've had this and we had that, and it was like, okay, that works, but guess what, you have to either be a part of this or that. And then within not being a part of this or that, you start to cause all this extra chaos and confusion. So it gets to a point where people are not on the same page. They're definitely not, because some people are ripping pages out the book. Some people just throw away the book in general. And others are deciding, yo, I didn't like how this chapter, the first page started off, so I'm going to start writing on this part, which we know history's rewritten when by the conquerors. And literally, this is the outcome of colonization and what's been going on nowadays with all of us. So, I mean, at the end of the day with this, in the two-sided perspective or perspectives, just know that, once again, there's 2. How many numbers we got in the technical, the whole number system? How many numbers do we have? we have up into infinity. So I'm not saying that there's a possibility there's going to be of infinity answers, but yes, we have multiple answers to one problem. Even math, which
Yeah.
is a universal language, shows you that you can literally have multiple answers to the same problem. You have multiple different answers and solutions to the same problem. One thing is you got to be able to show your work. So if I can tell you, okay, then how can I get to the number 5? Literally, I can go 1 plus 4. I can go 2 plus 3. I can go, and literally it gives you a few more. And 5 plus 0, 4, like you get legitimately, there's multiple answers you can put just for that one problem. I'm not saying there's going to be an infinite amount, but just think about it. That's all.
Yeah, like even if you look at health, speaking of binaries, because I mention it because it's kind of related, right? I'm not I'm not one of those like conspiracy theory, like anti-vax people.
Yeah.
Even though there has been a history of the government, abusing its power to manipulate people,
Yes.
like the 40-year syphilis experiment, right?
Yes.
The Tuskegee experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So but I was looking, but like fundamentally though, there is a false binary even here where we're told that either, as far as COVID, for example, either we have to take the vaccine or we don't, right? Or we
Mm-hmm.
die, which is based on another false binary, which is either we have to kill the virus or we die, right?
Mm.
It's a weird binary because in our bellies, there are 60 trillion bacteria, but there are 6 times that. There are 360 trillion viruses already in our bellies,
Yeah.
right? So why are we so scared about this one extra virus? It's very weird to me because we're already in this perfect ecosystem with all of these other viruses. So why can't be in perfect ecosystem with that virus? Why haven't we thought of that option? Why don't we teach people that? That's not taught. So we're forced to be back in this binary. And yeah, because the entire state, the entire like country is in that binary, possibly most people have to take the vaccine. But I wish that wasn't the case. I wish we could use this third option of like being in this ecosystem balance within us. And that's where the new emergent science of systems biology is coming into play.
Yeah.
But that's only around 15 years old.
Yes. But to your point, and to the point of all the folks that's in here too, one of the main reasons why that is not an option and it's not taught, 2 reasons. One, people do not find that information either entertaining or helpful because it doesn't help, because a lot of people are stuck, yes, in their survival mindset. So information that can help in that particular way, it's not going to be heard the first time. And then 2, it's all about the Benjamins and the money at the end of the day. It's the
Yeah.
economical system. So if we can thrive off of doing things like this and make a business of it, why not? Why? That's why. And I'm gonna throw it real quick. To tell you when you was asking about the passports. Basically with the passports, that's just another economical opportunity for a lot of the private businesses and those private corporations to provide an app where they can make money based off of selling your information, providing your information for things, as well as being able to literally create, some people say the market of beast. I think of it too as a scarlet letter for those who don't. So it's
Yeah.
basically more identification to be like, oh, the haves and the have-nots, and it just
Hmm.
continues to create not only these binaries but more of these divisions. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, with the two-sided perspective, y'all, just give it thought, see it for what it is, and then add them together, and then figure out, okay, if that was the end of the case, isn't there anything else in between right here? And that's where a lot of this is going to have to end up starting, is that we're going to have to end up invoking thought in others to do so. And not in a way of forceful, but just through conversations and reasonings like this, and it doesn't have to be all super. We know all these SAT and other different type of words. It can
Yeah.
just be out on the like, yo, I was watching football and be like, hey, bro, did you know that this was another thing? And it'd be like, for real? Or be like, sis, did you know that you can doom, and it's another way that you can end up healing and really fixing your system? Did you know that we already coexist with a lot of different germs and things? And they be like, wait, what? It's like, yeah,
Yeah, like
there's a such
90% of
thing
our
as
bodies are not even human. They're these microbes. Yeah. In fact, let me tell you a funny fact. Yeah, I laughed yesterday and it blew my mind. It was funny at the same time.
yeah.
It might gross you out a little bit, but it's true. It's a funny fact about our symbiotic nature with the beings on our bodies. So apparently, on your face, there are these millions of microscopic spiders. They're actual spiders, but they're microscopic, called demodax, in the pores on your face, and they eat the sebum or the oil on your face inside the pores. Because if you have, and they're in symbiotic relationship with us. Because if there's too much of the oil, that's how you get pimples. So the spiders are doing a good thing for you by eating the oil inside. But here's the part that's funny. Every night, the spiders come out of the pores all over your face. And what they're doing is they're having sex with other spiders. They're mating. So basically, your face is a party space every night for a spider orgy.
Disclaimer to y'all. I should have said it earlier, but fun fact, if you're not getting it on, something is getting it on and is on your face. So if you need a mask, you got one already. At night, you ain't even got to wear your face mask. You got a face mask happening at night. Wow, that's pretty funny. Wow. The more you know. Some people be like, man,
Spiders
too
having
much
an orgy
information.
every night on your face.
Yeah, you have a new face. So, so when people say they woke up like this, now you know how they woke up like this. But other than that, oh my goodness. Any last thoughts on this, Kunin, before we do the last topic and round out almost, ending the show?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. And more of y'all, if y'all in here, y'all are also welcome to join in too, because guess what? Instagram decided, it's a little lonely with just only 2 people. So now it ended up adding the option for 4 people. So just know, if you want to join in the convo as well and be on screen, yes, you will be on YouTube. If you don't want to be on YouTube, it's fine. But if not, and you want to, please just add a request and you add on to the discussion and the talk that we're having. Because lastly, we are jumping into the final topic, which the final topic for today's show, and I'm going to look at that comment too.
This person's having nightmares after that fun fact, yeah.
Bro, we're going to be scratching your face. Literally Nightmare on Elm Street, all these other different things. But last topic for tonight is heightening your awareness. How to do that, why we should do that, why we shouldn't, wherever you want to end up taking this. But the concept of it is heightening your awareness. So I don't know if you wanted to start off with it, Kundin, you can. If not, let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful because for the last 3 years, I've, and that's why this book is in front of me at all times during the day. Spontaneous Creativity by Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. He's an indigenous born Tibetan Buddhist teacher. And I found this book 3 years ago and it just jumped out at me. And since then, I've pretty much read like at least 5 books by the same author and watched so many of his videos, listened to his guided meditations. And it's all about awareness and really how to expand my awareness. And it's even changed my perspective on what focus is. Speaking of binaries, even the Western perspective on focus is very compartmentalized, because we see focus as like, oh, you have to forget everything else and look at this one thing.
Yes.
But the way he makes focus out to be, or the way I've learned kind of from his meditations, is that you're actually aware of everything else simultaneously, and everything else is actually supporting you to be focused on this one thing, this boundless space. Just like the entire energy of the sun, like a laser, is then focused on this one thing, and uh, the entirety of your entire self is supporting you to be this laser focused.
Mm.
That to me is like a way more powerful way of looking at focus, especially as a
You're
multi-passionate person, a multi-creative person. I now feel like, oh, I don't have to, it doesn't have to be either or. I don't have to feel like I'm missing out on anything. I can do everything and everything can support me when I do choose to focus on one thing at a time. That everything else that I've ever done, that I'm ever interested in, can now help me be focused on this one thing that I'm doing, whether it's a story, a
yes.
poem, or a painting. So it's through the heightened awareness and the way I've overcome the binary has actually helped me like be even more focused than I ever was before.
Mm. Mm. So expanding your awareness on the whole understanding of awareness and what it can really be as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. And that makes me think, which I touch on, I see it in there, brother. Yes, Wim Hof. Yes. So when we're thinking of, and if those for those who do not know, Wim Hof
Oh
is,
yeah, the breath guy.
yes,
Yeah.
he is
Hmm.
one of, I'm not gonna say if he's an Olympian or not, but basically he has a method where with his breathing where literally you can help to not only oxygenate your whole body thoroughly, but the way that you also end up doing it, you end up experiencing, some people experiencing a lot more focus. Others, it also helps
Yeah, like he
controlling,
was like climbing Mount Everest in his underwear and stuff
yes,
like that.
yes.
Yeah.
So overcoming a lot of like just even outside things when it comes to either your hot, cold, and things, stuff of that nature. I mean, breathing is one of the mechanisms that also helps us to calm down,
And they also
especially music
injected him with
correctly.
viruses and bacteria, and he was able to like cure himself, I think, or with just bacteria, and he was able to change his immune system with
Yes.
just the breathing as well.
So if you want
Yeah.
to look up Wim Hof, is WIMHOF. So Wim Hof, but it's a
But
breathing
even
technique.
Wim Hof, though, is a lot of what he's teaching is based on Tibetan stuff as well.
Yeah.
The Tibetan Tumo breathing, basically, it's very similar. The two, it's almost like he must have like based it on that as well
Mm.
and created his own thing. Yeah. So you can look that up too.
Y'all just do it. But also with that too, with the focusing, um, some ways to also heighten your awareness. And when we're speaking about awareness, we're not only talking about just being aware, like, oh, I'm right here looking into a screen and I'm watching this live right now or this video, but also just the awareness of your space, awareness of the time, awareness of your breath. It's really just in general how everything around you right now is taking place while you're also here. So it's like, yes, metacognition on top of your own cognition. So like thinking of your own thinking, but in the context of, yes, this is going on right now. I hear music, and we don't get, you want to get too particular, but awareness, we're talking about of a lot of different things. So in this particular case, two things that come to my mind when it comes to heightening your awareness. One is literally doing different types of awareness drills. And when I mean awareness drills,
Mm-hmm.
literally go grab your phone or either grab a timer or whatever you may end up having it, set it for a minute. If you can do it inside your house or you can do it outside, but for that whole minute, just sit in the present moment and just either listen, smell, feel whatever is going on around you, and just only pay attention to that for that whole minute. That's one
Mm-hmm.
way to start helping you heighten your awareness, to be able to really be like, just take a minute. And if you can't do it for a minute, 30 seconds. And then you continue to build up from there. But what that ends
Mm-hmm.
up doing is that it starts to get your mind glued into the fact of like, not the fact of, but being, yes, more present, but knowing your surroundings and knowing what can be going on in any situation you may end up being. Not saying to be very skeptical or to be very on high alert when things happening. No, just being able to really assess your space and
Mm.
assess where you are. So one of those is being doing some type of awareness drills, whether if it's like that. Second thing, a
Yeah,
lot of
that
people
sounds
say
similar to like wall gazing practice, which is from like Zen Buddhism, where you just it's an open eye practice where you like simply gaze at a wall at a like the at a specific spot on the wall at
yes,
like a 45-degree angle.
yes.
Yeah, and for as long as you can, just yeah.
Which yeah, no, that's definitely one of the. Those are basically another one is the mindfulness practices, and that's definitely one of
Or
them.
even candle
Yeah,
gazing too,
yes, I was
looking at a
about to
candle flame.
exactly.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just about to speak on that. That's basically I haven't personally got to try it, but anything that makes you look outside of your own self in that moment is a way to help with your awareness. As well as
Hmm.
people use meditation. Meditation is another great way, especially if you're going to do something very similar to either doing that candle, either focusing on your breath, focusing on what you hear. There's walking meditation. There's many different aspects of meditation when it comes to
Hmm.
that. You know, it may not, it's not for everybody, but there's ways that you can actually still take those key elements from meditation and apply it to other things that you like to do within life. Some
Hmm.
people literally washing your dishes. You doing it in a
Yeah.
very mindful way. How intentional you are with the movements and how you're washing and scrubbing and stuff. You know, get your Daniel-son wax on, wax off. Do what you got to do, and you'll be surprised that you're really in that moment, as well as you're like, dang, I'm really noticing now when I scrub it on this side, like I feel a certain way versus on the other side. Yes, it may
Hmm.
seem like some like, oh, okay, you're just getting super specific into things and be like, nobody's thinking too hard about this, but in that same aspect, what you're also doing when you're being very aware of what you are doing and where you are at, it's kind of like you were saying in the beginning when you were speaking on your focus and getting into that one point. You're there in that
Hmm.
one activity or whatever you're doing, and you're also helping
Hmm.
yourself to feel calm, feel relaxed, unintentionally, because that's not usually always going to end up being the purpose. The
Hmm.
purpose may be you want to get the dishes done, but while you're doing that, these other benefits come in, whether you're feeling relaxed, you're feeling calm, there's no anxiousness, you're not thinking about, okay, I need to get to my job in the next 18 minutes, I need to end up vacuuming the floor or anything. You're right there with that particular thing, helping you literally think about, okay, all right, I'm getting this done, but I'm liking, okay, move of this, the motion and the feel of the water is going through my hands, just really cherishing the moment with that as it's there.
Yeah, I almost see like awareness as like an infinite circle or an infinite sphere that
Yes.
can be shaped
Yes.
and focused in using your attention, right? So that's why I like practices like wall gazing, candle gazing. But I also do more often, I do like sky gazing. And if I, on a cloudy day, if I can't see the sky properly, I do space gazing where I just gaze at at my the space in front of me in my room, and like I try to expand my awareness. So that's shaping awareness in terms of like expanding my awareness sense of self by
Yes.
expanding my awareness. And that same awareness that can be expanded can also be like focused to a single point. And that's where something like wall gazing or candle gazing comes into play. And then if you want to do both at the same time, I feel like full moon gazing is very good for that, like gazing at the moon, specifically on the full moon, because at that point the moon is this perfect circle, right? The single
Yes.
point, but the entire sky is the boundless awareness. So you can have both. You see the boundless awareness and then the full moon. And about 2 years ago, I also created this painting to help me do both without needing the moon. So this is
Mm.
my painting.
Oh yes, I remember you did share that
Yeah,
before. Yes, and you also
yeah.
made a motion or animation of it too as well, right?
Exactly, I have an animation of it, where so all of the circle, the bigger and smaller circles, and then all the plants, right, coming out of that central circle, the white circle in the middle, it's almost like the plants coming out are a metaphor for the boundless awareness expanding. And then the inner circle, the innermost circle, the white in the center, is like all of that boundless awareness is then brought back in and focused into a single point.
Yes.
So it's the both end. So it helps you overcome that false binary, and you get both the boundless awareness and the single pointed focus at the same time.
All combined into one, y'all. That's how in the universe and things and how that ends up going.
Yeah.
But yes, when it comes to heightening your awareness, you really do need to take just a moment at a time to just address what is going on right in front of you, so you to be able to know that you're aware of it. Because the first step to anything, it does, brother, it does. And I think that's what we did intentionally with it too. When I first saw it, I also thought, I was like, it looked like an eyeball to me, and the trees look like the veins of the eyeball and things of that nature. So yes, brother, yes, it does. That's a great observation, being in the moment, your awareness. But when it comes to, when it's something to talk of just awareness, it's just getting down to that core time of you being there in that moment and really wanting yourself to feel, touch, see all the different senses where you are right there. So then you can end up helping yourself move forward, whatever that may end up being. Because basically heightening our awareness doesn't mean, oh yeah, I'm gonna be super woke and now I got my third eye and my chakras and everything aligning and stuff in that nature. Not what people talk about on the trendy aspect, but this is more so in a sense of self-development and self-growth, and knowing that when there is a problem or a situation that arises in front of you, that one of the first steps that you have to end up taking, and it starts with that awareness of the issue or the problem. If you don't know that there's an issue or a problem going on, then you will continue to keep moving in life wondering why you can't get over a certain thought or a certain person or a certain thing, because of the fact that you didn't take the time to be aware of what's really going on and address it.
Right. Also, when you're stuck in a thought, your awareness again, right? That awareness that's supposed to be boundless, that has that superpower, suddenly becomes trapped inside a single thought because you thought you were just this thought rather than the boundless awareness. But when you come out, you realize, oh, that's not the only thought that's possible. I have other options too. There are other thoughts that are possible. And I can choose these other thoughts. Or I can just be the awareness, right? That's possible too. That's total freedom. Like,
exactly. But another few more points and we're going to round it up. But once again, some ways that you can heighten your awareness, why it's important for the self-growth, but ways you can heighten your awareness. One, doing some awareness drill, whether you take 10 to a minute of your time to just be in the moment and either listen, smell, whatever with your senses of what's going on to help heighten your awareness. 2, meditation is a great way to do that. 3, exercising is actually another great way to help with your awareness too, because sometimes when you're really focused on something, a lot of this is with the building blocks of focus, you're able to get yourself down in that moment to be either you're pumping the muscle, you're running, you're getting your body to move, and literally you're engaging every aspect of you when also doing the exercise. 4, which Kundin gave a lot of them having to do with these gazes. So we have the stargazing, the wall gazing, the sun gazing, any type of concentration technique as well too.
Yeah,
it's another way
gazing,
to help with heightening your awareness. And then the 5th one really basically, or another one, the 5th one I can end up saying too, is if you want to also be aware of what you're seeing as well too, is capture it on video, capture a picture of it, analyze it and look at it and get what information you want to get up out of it. But at the end of the day, with heightening your awareness, it's your job to
that
want to take that
reminds me,
step.
a friend of mine said that, you know, he finds it difficult to do journaling via writing.
Yes.
So what he does is, if he's stressed, he would walk around the block around his apartment complex, and he would record into his phone an audio through using the audio recording app. He would just record his thoughts into his phone, and then just let it out like that. Like,
exactly. So you have multiple tools and multiple ways to do this. You can even do it with something that you like and you enjoy. Like I said, you're gonna be washing dishes, you can play video game, whatever it may end up being. It's also, at the end of the day, it's also that intention that goes along with it. But the self-growth is really the main point in that self-development that comes along with it. But you got to be disciplined to be able to do so. But with that, Kunin, do you have any last points you want to say on this before I wrap up?
Yeah, just one last point, this perspective of one of the reasons why when it comes to things like guided visualizations, I don't like it when people call it guided meditation, because it's really a guided visualization. It's more like an escape, whereas meditation is the opposite, where it's about knowing reality exactly as it is, right? And so you mentioned like focusing on the breath, right? On looking at the breath. That's a really powerful practice that comes from the Vipassana Buddhist tradition, right? Which is, again, based on this idea of knowing reality exactly as it is. And one of the most testaments to that I've ever heard is by Yuval Noah Harari. And he's a historian that wrote 3 books.
Sapien?
Homo Deus, Sapiens, Homo Deus, and then 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, all of which are bestsellers. And he's like, he has so many YouTube videos. But before he wrote all of those books, he was just like a historian, a professor at a university in Israel, right? Nobody knew him, right? And that's when he started doing the Vipassana meditation practice of just watching the breath, right? And his job as a historian, by the way, is to know reality as it is, not only the past, but even the present, to record the present, right? Exactly as it is. But as he was doing the Vipassana practice and just watching his breath, he noticed that after about 3 breaths, he would lose his concentration. His mind would wander. He would keep losing his concentration. But then he had this amazing realization, even from the so-called failure, right? He had this amazing realization when he thought to himself, oh my God, if I can't, or if I even don't even know the reality of my own breath for more than 3 breaths, how can I know the reality of history or the geopolitics happening in the world today? That just blew his mind when he realized that. So we have talked about, so many things today, such as politics, false binaries, right?
Yes.
But if you don't even know the reality of your own breath, how can you analyze any of that, right? So this is the ability to really develop that discernment ability to know reality exactly as it is. And Harari has actually attributed all 3 of his books to this practice. The reason why his books are so insightful is because he honed that ability to know reality exactly as it is.
Beautiful. And I wouldn't know particularly. I remember I have a note saved with it, so I actually did get some of the books. I found them, but I haven't purchased any, but I will be reading the information. But I appreciate that, Cooley. Thank you. So to wrap up the show, y'all, main thing with these current events is make sure, again, that you are informed on what's going on around you, whether that has to end up being with these updates on the shots, as well as the criminal and justice system, how we got to keep pushing forward and keep up the heat and the fire under them to create change. As well as when it comes to the 2-sided perspective or perspectives, know that it's just not only the binary, it's not only this or that, there's also the in-between. Don't forget, there's one side of the river, the other side of the river, and there's also the river itself. And knowing that that all comes together to create another perspective. And then lastly, when it comes to heightening your awareness, being able to take that time to create that discernment and to know that, oh, I'm actually breathing right now and I'm actually living right now is the first step to being able to go beyond and further grow yourself to know that there is more beyond even me. But other than that, I've been your brother A.D.V.I.S.S. This has been the brother Kundin. Follow him on social
Yep.
medias. We got Instagram
Follow
here,
A.D.V.I.S.S.
as
Yeah.
well as if y'all see him on YouTube, follow there too. But once again, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. This has been the 10th episode. What's the word? Wednesdays, season 2. We'll catch you next Wednesday for the next episode.
Yeah,
So,
catch you.
peace and love, y'all. We out.
Out.